the stage for the watering of the plants and the timing of the event.
I would like to invite Sir and Ma'am to kindly inaugurate the event by a tradition by watering the plant. We would now like to invite Professor Madhukar Shukla to speak a few words on his views on sustainability and the outlook of this event, that is Asian Games. We welcome you.
Thank you, Pravesh, and welcome to all of you to this meet. It's a very interesting event in the terms that I still remember about 6 years back. We had a representative from SIGMA-oikos who came to XLRI, and we had a meeting about what kind of partnership we can form. And then today, now we have the Asia meet happening here, so it's quite a journey since then. I would like to mention a few things about XLRI because sustainability, which is also the theme of SIGMA-oikos, is something which is sort of embedded in XLRI. Some of you would be definitely knowing that XLRI is one of the oldest management institutes in the country. Started in 1949, and since then it has grown from a small room in a hotel to what you see over here now. But then one of the reasons why XLRI was started was in 1949 India had just become independent. And this was an institute which was formed with the purpose that to be a partner in the progress of the country. That was a time when industrialization was taking place. It was very important for the country to develop, and for the country to develop, it was very important that management and labor should work together. And that's why when it started, it was Xavier Labor Relations Institute. Now, of course, we have other programs which has become XLRI only. Some of you would be knowing that perhaps, or may not be knowing. XLRI is one of the first Indian management institute which is the signatory of UN Global Compact's Principle for Responsible Management Education, PRMI. We are also the first in India, and we were also the first among the 100 institutes in the world which had signed that, which essentially aims to bring the theme of sustainability not only in the curriculum of the institute, but also in the way the institute functions. So since then, obviously change takes its own time, but since then, there are things which have been embedded in the curriculum. For example, we have a compulsory course on sustainability, which is core course for all the students, not elective. We have a number of other courses like social banking, social entrepreneurship, etc., which deal with these issues. We have case studies, we have the course projects which help students to engage with the larger issues of the society. So that's one part, but then there are also other parts which you may see. For example, just to give a few examples, a large part of the food which is cooked in MTP comes from a biogas plant. which uses the organic waste from the same mess hall, and then converts that into it. So that is something we started about 2-3 years back. Over the period of time, where there was a time when there were only 5-6 motorcycles in the institute, and then we found that it had crossed more than 100, which was creating its own, both noise pollution and air pollution. So we introduced free cycles, which anybody can use to, travel within the campus, and thereby reduce the usage of the two-wheelers. Of course, some vehicles have to come, they would come with. We still know our carbon footprints are high. So there have been measures which are being taken. For example, there's a tree plantation which happens. So there are stretches of land where no building will come up. It's only for planting the trees. Where you have much of the organic waste, which is sukhi patti hoti hai, dry leaves. They all go into a compost plant, which is used for our. So there are a number. As an educational institute, we produce a lot of paper. Now that paper cannot be sold in the Rindi Valley because some of those are, question papers, some of them are letters, etc. So we installed a shredder where this is shredded, and then it goes to we have tied a partner with a venture, which converts it back into recycled papers. So there are a number of these kind of things which we have been doing, and SIGMA has been one of the forefront from the students organization which has been mobilizing students and others. In fact, that bicycle initiative was taken by the SIGMA themselves. We are also working on a large number of books which are discarded every year. So last year, for example, if they were collected and then we sent it to some management institutes in Madhya Pradesh through a partner organization. So there are a number of things which are happening, and I'm sure there were many things which we partner with many other local NGOs and social ventures. One of them you would be hearing about from Anurag Jain and Shikha Jain, who run this wonderful organization called NEEM. So welcome to you also. And so I'm sure you will have an enriching time during this 3-day meet. Thank you very much and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. Now we'd like to invite Clementine to share her thoughts on the event and share her feelings.
Namaste. Good morning, everyone. So now you know my level is really very bad. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining this event. It's going to be an amazing event with a lot of different players in sustainability that you will be able to meet in the next 3 days if you stay with us. So I am here because I represent OIKOS International. So OIKOS is a student-driven organization for sustainability in economics and management. So we have 49 chapters all over the world. We are 30 years old. It was started in 1987. So, and we are in India for the past 10 years. So, meaning we have chapters in different cities, like Delhi, like here, chapter 4, like Pune, like Vellore, and I'm missing Kolkata. Of course, we have a representative from Kolkata chapter here today, so please ask him a lot of questions. So, why India? Why we are very, very interested in India, and why do I work now in India? So I'm based in Bangalore because we find that India is a key emerging country in terms of sustainability. Why? for three main reasons. First, there are a lot of social and environmental issues here, and people are starting to acknowledge that. But that's not enough. There is also a huge youth population. And this is what makes India really interesting for student-driven organizations on sustainability, is we think that this youth should know about sustainability, should be told about sustainability, should be aware of what they can do in terms of sustainability in their private life, but also professional life later on. So to do that, we try to change curriculum within universities, and also there are a lot of projects going on in the chapters themselves. So you, like the members experience the project management in the field of sustainability. So it's very practical. You have both theory, practice, and then you're ready to go out there and make a difference, right? So there is those 2 points, but also India is really interesting because for the past 2 years, if I'm not wrong, there is this legal framework that came into the picture with CSR investment from big companies, like 2% of their profit should be invested in CSR. And companies need people who know how to deal with that, right? So you need to know how, where to invest money, what to do to improve and create new solutions, right? So that's why also Oikos is here in India to try to, with those practice and with those theory knowledge, try to combine everything together so that students are ready for tomorrow, even for today, actually. So we have a lot of collaborations with other institutions, like IIM Bangalore, IIM Ahmedabad, INC in Hyderabad. For example, we have a case study competition for people to really, for students to really, you know, embrace concretely the matters in companies. So tomorrow the chapter here, Oikos Jamshedpur. So internationally, I have to say, this chapter is known as Oikos Jamshedpur. Sigma is a local name here, so that's really interesting also to see that Oikos Jamshedpur is part of this huge network. So the goal is really to foster collaborations. Oikos is locally present here, so you have local partners, you have local projects, and is internationally attached to other chapters, and you can exchange knowledge on sustainability and know how it works elsewhere, get inspired. You also inspire others. Actually, India inspires a lot our community. It's one of the main countries which has a lot of creative ideas and solutions for sustainability. Tomorrow, if you stay here, you'll have an alumni talking about his experience here. He is into social entrepreneurship, and the business started within Oikos, and it grew so much that it was now a very successful story. So he's going to talk about it. It's Alpha's Ring, if you know about it. And so within Oikos, you can do a lot in terms of sustainability and in terms of international connections as well. So that's why I'm here. I'm French. I didn't say that at the beginning, and I'm working now in India. All thanks to sustainability and Oikos, and I'm glad Sigma also made the opportunity to come here. So I just want you to enjoy as much as possible these few days. What has been mentioned before, PRIME, the Principle for Responsible Management and Education, which is a partner here, is also a partner at the international level of Oikos, and we work a lot with them, and that proves how Oikos tries to really make a difference out there. So wherever you go in India after your undergraduate studies, when you enter the master classes, you can also make a difference, even though not within Oikos, but please keep that in mind. sustainability is important and can bring solutions and profitable solutions, I have to say also. Thank you.
Coming next, now we have a message from Levan, the chairman of Oikos, who has a recorded message for us from Switzerland. So I'll just play that for you all. Meena, sir, and ma'am, if you want, you can sit here.
First of all, my apologies for not being able to join you today. I hope you're making all very well, and it's my great honor and privilege to talk on behalf of this information. Your gathering is unique in bringing together people with the same passion to find solutions for sustainable development. The importance of sustainable development is increasingly rare. You very well know that till 2030, the world has new 17 sustainable development goals. It is not only governments who should be concerned, but each citizen of the world, each of us, living on this planet, should take ownership of our actions for the better world. Young people have an enormous stake in the present and future of Earth. Almost half of the population is under the age of 25. If young people's resources of energy, time, and knowledge are misdirected towards violence, terrorist, social isolating technologies, and unsustainable consumption, civilization risks destabilization. Yet there is a powerful opportunity for society if young people can participate positively in all aspects of sustainable development. How can we do this? In Oikos, we see empowerment through education. Education is at the core of all systemic changes the society requires. And what is Oikos? Oikos is an international organization for sustainable economics and management. So we're a global network of students, faculty, alumni, advisors, and partners that turn ideas into action. We're a student-inspired organization that was born out of the idea and desire to create a sustainable world, and out of the necessity to address the gap in higher education. Back in 1987, when oil was first established here in Switzerland, sustainability as a topic simply did not exist in management and economic curriculum at most universities. So a group of conscientious, like-minded students got together and formed a student association to supplement their education by developing initiatives and projects that would better integrate sustainability in higher education, and eventually to make a positive impact in the worlds of business and policy development. Today, we have over 49 local chapters across the globe. So we're a global platform where we change ideas and best practices. We're very proud to have perspective on sustainability from all over the world. Basically, Oikos' mission is to integrate sustainability in teaching and research of economics and management. We believe in a paradigm shift because at this moment, education is not inclusive enough. It doesn't prepare students to have an impact, but at the same hour for everyone. It is mostly one-way transfer of knowledge instead of an experience. It is important to adapt sustainability framework, so SDG framework, so that we can bring this vision to life by taking care of ourselves as people and the world as a whole, and leveraging ideas and opportunities to have lasting positive impact. To achieve this mission, we believe it is essential to give young people a chance to learn by doing and understand how to have a more holistic view on our business and economic system function within SDG framework. In Oikos, we have three main directions: curricular development, research development, and leadership development. I'll give you three examples. Those of the project run by our chapters, our community that enable to achieve the goal. First is curriculum development, and one of our projects to achieve this is global case writing competition. We developed a competition in 2003 and to promote sustainable business cases in business education. We have three main areas: corporate sustainability, social entrepreneurship, and sustainable finance. And every year, this competition attracts submissions from 5 continents, and more than 50,000 students are taught with all those cases. And I'd like to let you know that one of the best cases are coming from India, and winners of our case competition several years were Indian students, the same happened last year as well. Second, for research development, one of our projects is this PhD fellowship program. This program was established to enable young students, scholars, to conduct their PhD research in Switzerland on sustainable related topics. So we encourage young people to research on unexplored fields, and this year we're concentrating on sustainable finance. And third direction is leadership development, which plays a key role in our work. We developed a SIGMA program, which is leadership program, and it's designed to inspire leaders to become more responsible in their decision making and equip them with insights, knowledge, and tools. So every year, up to 100 students from more than 30 countries participate in 9-month program. And most importantly, they implement everything they learn in their during the course. They learn, they will implement in the local chapters and in their work. And it's important to realize that we're talking about students who are transforming into future leaders, generation who crisis in the parliaments, become business leaders, investors, or synthesists. You may agree that it's essential to prepare today's students for the challenges of tomorrow. It is essential that students are capable of tomorrow's problem solvers. Our projects gives you an opportunity to realize that sustainability mindset is the only that will allow us to grow as critical thinkers and be able to tackle challenges as they arise. We at Oikos truly believe in our power that we all together can make the world a better place, a more sustainable place. We call on business and academic to open the doors toward us, millennials and Generation Z, as we can truly collaborate on the tackling the world's most important challenges. At Oikos, we are ready, and we believe that Indian students and universities are key stakeholders to provide sustainable solutions for key global issues. That's why we created a position of an outreach manager for the first time in Oikos history, and appointed to India. And I think Lemony will tell you a bit more about this program and our role there. So I want to thank you, and I wish you a great conference, and kindly invite you to our global conference called Future Lab in October in Switzerland. Thank you so much.
That was an interesting talk by everyone. I thank a lot to all the participants who come here in big numbers. I really appreciate that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to attend the event. Now, going forward, we have amongst us Mrs. Shikha Jain and Mr. Anurag Jain, founders of new organization. We welcome you both. As many of you would be knowing, the organization is based on a concept through which a new paradigm of living and doing business is envisaged. A paradigm through which the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit is managed. After completing their graduation in REC Kurukshetra in 1997, Both of them had a brief stint in the corporate world. Post which they joined the school Krishnamurti Foundation of India, where they were drawn by the teachings of philosopher J. Krishnamurti. Me was born as a result of the questions that SIGMA XLRI has sought answers for as a non-profit trust in 2006. Sir and ma'am, we invite you both here for the panel talk.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank XLRI and Oikos for giving us the opportunity to present NEEV as social entrepreneurship. Our association with XLRI has been for about 10 years now, and one of the students of XLRI presented a case study in Oikos, which happened to be the NEEV case study, which was perhaps the runner-up in the global Oikos case study competition. And apart from that, our case study was also presented in Stern University a few years before this. And we are here today for the nth time in XLRI. But each time we come, we have evolved a little more, grown a little more, not in scale, but in our thoughts. So each time the presentation is different. So I'm going to spend some time talking about the philosophy. And then after that, Shikha would be talking about how we have executed the philosophy. And then we will wrap up by what we are heading to in terms of sustainability. So you can read what is there on the slide. I'm not going to read it for you. But yes, this is the way we started NEEV. It was a discontent with what exists in the world today. And at the time we started, this was in college when we were 23 years old. Today we are 43. And it's been a journey of 20 years since our college. And, you know, in college, we just understood that we are discontented. But we did not understand what was that discontent about. And forget the fact, what is the solution for it. But today, after 20 years, we are ready with the solution, at least. You know, living it is still happening, but the solution is there, and that's what we have come here to present it to you. It's not going to be easy for you to digest what is going to come after this. I'm telling you from before, right? It's going to go against your brain, and it has to be that way. Otherwise, sustainability would have been achieved in the world, right? It's precisely because it's against the grain of thinking that sustainability, we are living in an unsustainable way today. So it's going to challenge all of you. Yeah, so the first insight we had in college was a pretty cliched insight in a sense, but the insight is very, you know, yeah. Now everybody knows this, right? I don't think there's anything over here which nobody doesn't. But does it come as an insight to you? That's my question. Right? We are saying we have to adjust to it. There's a rat race and we have to earn our livelihood. The world is the way it is and we have to adjust to it. But then if you were that way, then you wouldn't be sitting here, because we are talking about changing the world. Right? We're not talking here to adjust to the world. We're not talking here to be in the rat race. So this was our insight, and we were very sure that we had to drop out of it. It came with extreme clarity to us, and we actually, decided not to appear in the campus interview jobs. We wanted to do a PhD in philosophy after doing our engineering, but we could not because of financial constraints and etc. So we had to literally go back and go back for the campus interview. We hadn't even given our papers for the interview, but finally we had to do the job just to be sustainable, right? To be on our own feet. We did not want to depend on our parents. So we went back and I got a job in an indie, Shikha got a job in a software company, and we started with our jobs, but the questions were remaining with us. So, the biggest thing is, and I'm sure this is a question for all of you, keep aside everything, you want money, you want to earn your livelihood. All this talk of sustainability is great, but I want to earn my money. I have got my liabilities, I've got my, I have got my stomach to feed. So we decided, yeah, we are not going to be part of the system. But the question is, okay, you're not part of the system. How are you going to earn your money? Right? So you can read this and you'll understand this, especially in Indian society, where your parents are wanting you to be successful, where you are being, there's peer pressure. Your friends are out there making money, living a good life, getting good jobs, and you are completely an outsider to all this. So let me tell you, the society does not come easy on you. And I don't know how it is today. I'm talking about 20 years back, where I heard Levan talking about sustainability not being talked about in the courses. I don't even know if environment was taught at that time, right? It was absolutely, the Nehruvian era, 93 is the time which I'm talking about, where technology was a god. You progress technology, right? Anybody talking anything else was considered mad. So our journey began with this very difficult task of trying to create an alternate economy, an economy for ourselves, which is different from the current economy. Now, what is the current economy? We have to be very clear about it. If we are not, even when we talk about social entrepreneurship, even when we talk about sustainability, because the DNA in our minds is that of the current economic model, we'll find ourselves slowly doing the same things again. So, the society has got a gravitational pull, and you have to get an escape velocity to get out of it. And for that, the only thing that is there is your clarity of thought. You cannot do it without clarity of thought. You cannot do it by just action. Because the moment you'll act, there are institutions, right? Governments, corporates, NGOs, educational institutes, all co-opting you back again. into their model. You have started with the fact that you're going to make a difference in the world, and slowly you will see slowly pawning out your soul little by little, making the compromises. And you will be a big NGO with plush funds, great office, everything, getting awards, but finally making no change in the system. So our challenge was to actually make a difference, to actually make an alternate economy. So whatever I'm going to present you today is a discovery which we made after 20 years of constant inquiry through reflection and action, through meeting the road, meeting the rubber on the road, and through our action. And we went to the roots of what creates unsustainability. The root reason for unsustainability is not today. It's been there for 5,000 years of human civilization, and that is the desire to seek power and centralize. And that's our DNA. That's what we are fed with by our schools, by our parents, by our society, by our governments, by our corporations, by our educational institutes. You have to grow. You have to grow big. You have to be ambitious. You have to be competitive. You have to have a name for yourself. You have to be successful. And the only way you can do all these things, and this is the way it's been happening in all throughout the history, is by centralization. The root reason for unsustainability is centralization. Centralization of power, centralization of resources, centralization of knowledge, centralization of money, every kind of centralization. Right? Next, please. So we realized that it's the big governments, the big corporations, big everything, which takes power away from every individual. Right? Take, for example, education. We never question education, right? It's taken for granted. I was happy to see Levant at least doing some questioning on education. Have you ever thought who decides the curriculum for your education? Who decides which subjects you are going to study? Is it your decision? Are you deciding that I want to study math, science, physics, chemistry? You have not decided. It's been decided by the government. Right? Do you decide how to study? At what pace to study? No, you have not decided that either. The day you go to school, you have a teacher with the books are already prescribed. The pace, the schedule has been set for you. It has already also been decided how you're going to study. You're going to sit in a classroom with a blackboard. And the natural curiosity, revolt, creativity and expression of an individual is systematically curbed down by the education system. Devastatingly. It's the education, according to me, is the greatest human abuse that's happening on the earth. And after the education, you enter as a lion and you come out as a rat. And you're lucky if you are not. You're lucky. You're beaten down to shape by an industrialized, centralist education system. What should be education? Freedom. Freedom to be, freedom to think, freedom to find out, right? But it's never freedom. It's always should be's. You have to do this, you have to do this. And what do we teach in education? Competition. Who comes first, who comes second, what grades, what marks. So what is the ultimate aim of education? All around, it's certification. You're certified to be someone or something. Nothing more, right? Yeah, next please. Yeah, so we ultimately, all of us, and it's very difficult. It takes a lot of effort from oneself to get rid of this empire mentality. We are always seeking domination. What is unsustainability? Unsustainability is basically domination on nature. Right? We would like to dominate nature instead of work with it. The whole of technology and science that we have developed, basically the Western model, is about dominating nature, exploiting resources. For what? For power. Right? It's very simple. If you look at it, it's very simple. We are all trying to get power every single moment. Through knowledge, through status, through wealth, through affiliations, right? So till the time this drive for power is going to exist in our minds, sustainability is not going to happen. We have to relinquish this drive for power. Next. Yeah. And we find a lot of defenders for this mentality. Those who say that you shouldn't be left free. Human nature is greedy. People say that, yeah? You can't change human nature. Human nature by nature it is competitive, greedy. They'll quote Charles Darwin, the theory of evolution, the fittest survive. But these theories were also advanced by the empire. The histories that we study was advanced by the empire. We all know of how the great Christopher Columbus went and educated the natives. Right? Who wrote that history? The empire. The natives didn't write that history. Columbus is a hero for those who wrote the history. But the natives do not consider him a hero. We were just doing a Google search and we found out, since it's a sustainability summit, do you know the oldest sustainable race that ever existed on the earth? Anyone has an idea about this? Alright, it's the Australian Aborigines. They have existed for 50,000 years. Am I right? Is it 50,000 years? Can you believe it? Right. Yeah, and we call them aborigines. Right? That's the word given by us. So we have to get very, very sensitive to this mindset of the empire. They did not have any diseases. They had complete knowledge of sustainability. They had maps on the caves for water resources. They had no PPTs, nothing, no colleges, no universities. It was a complete oral tradition and transfer, right? So you want to learn about sustainability, go to the Australian Aborigines. Learn about the Indian village republics. Get out of the universities. These are all industrial appendages, which are, you have to unlearn, right? Next. Yeah, free markets. We all know that the markets are not free, right? So the empire is a very, very cunning mechanism. It doesn't survive only by military. It survives by its propaganda. If you want to learn about sustainability, you have to learn about the empire's propaganda and its lies. It controls the media. We all know about it, right? There are a few business houses controlling all the media in the country and in the world.
There are basically just 15 media houses which actually own up the whole of media of the world. So they are deciding what you are seeing, what you are thinking, what you should be wanting, what all should be.
Right? So they are controlling. There's this very interesting movie which came, I'm sure most of you heard of it at least, it was Matrix. Right? Now I'm very sure very few have ever understood it. It was a very complex movie. But the main theme of the movie was that you are being controlled by a supercomputer. Right? And it is very difficult for you to escape the programming of the supercomputer, because it has programmed every single being. So it basically shows the hero trying to come out of the program. That's what is the entire scenario even today. Next, please. Yeah. Now, since most of you are interested in social enterprises, please be very careful from where your money comes. Right? You personally may not be interested in that, but your money may, for example, World Bank, all these big institutions giving loans, foreign aids, they don't have any charitable purposes. Sorry. They are all part of the empire. And their main aim is to subjugate you, not to help you. Right? So this too you have to understand, because you will be working, you'll be going and joining organizations. I have also joined organizations. I was working in L&T, which was a construction company, and I was posted to villages where there were beautiful farmlands of Rajasthan, right? I was there. And my job was to construct these monstrous electricity towers, and they had to pass through these beautiful farmlands. And the irony was that these farmers would not be getting the electricity. It would be going to the cities. But their farmlands are being destroyed. And my job was to hoodwink them and get the company was supposed to pay them some kind of remuneration for building that tower on their farms. So my job was to hoodwink them and settle the deal in the least money possible, which I denied. And among the other things that I denied was paying bribes to the government officials. And this is a reputed company. It's the leading construction company of India, Larsen & Toubro. So eventually I left my job. So you have to see the larger picture. Next, please. Yeah. So just please go back a little bit. So you see, when we are talking about going and helping people in the villages, please understand that don't go with your mindset. Be open. They already have knowledge with them. They already know how to manage. They have been managing. You were not managing, they were managing in their villages. So they know. They have a fund of knowledge with them already. But they have been defeated, broken systematically by the empire. So they themselves don't value their knowledge. Neither do we, of course. But they don't also. That's the tragedy. So our job is to actually go and empower them to act themselves, not to give our ideas. Right? So you see, wherever these government programs have gone, it was being said that India has got a lot of ideas. Where are those ideas from? They are from the villages, from those people who have living there, solving the situations. We had the best water harvesting systems of the world. Indigenous, Rajasthan, where there is no water. There's a book by the Center for Science and Environment which talks about all the brilliant water harvesting structures that it's all finished. And it happened in front while I was going up here. I used to go to my village and I never questioned it, I never understood. There used to be these large ponds. In most, I don't know if you all have ever seen, but in my childhood, whenever I used to go to any of these villages, every village, for some strange reason, always had these large ponds. Very large ponds. And as you can see now, all of them have been filled and construction has been done there. Hyderabad was a city full of lakes, right? And it's finished. Ranchi, the closest city to us, it's now facing severe underwater crisis because we have done away with traditional wisdom. Why did they have these ponds? Now. They had it because they knew what is water harvesting before the government engineers came with their great dams and canals and all that. Right? Next, please. So that's what I've been talking about. You must read up at least on these things. I don't have the time nor the mandate to do this, but this is how the empire controls you through its centralization and large-scale operations, through its technology, through its education, and through its institutions. You are submerged in the empire. Head deep. And you have to come out of it. And it's a battle, an epic battle of every single individual to come out of this thinking of the empire. Right? And then only you can be a social entrepreneur. Truly. Yeah, next. Yeah. So for us, social entrepreneur basically disrupts the rhetoric of the empire. It's a disruptive act. Every creation is caused by a destruction, right? And the empire doesn't like that word at all. Be polite, be peaceful, be non-violent, be calm, right? Don't question, don't argue, don't debate, right? Seek solutions. Well, sometimes you have to change the entire topography, right? And that's what is required. You cannot do anything within the system. This can be a topic of big debate, but it's fine. Fortunately, I'm just speaking one way right now. Right? So my understanding after 20 years is you can do nothing in the system. You have to come out of it, create a new one. Nothing can be done here. Next, please. Yeah, so it's not that what there have been instances of sustainable living in the past. Pockets, wherever the empire did not or for the time being, the empire, they were wise rulers. They allowed the people to govern themselves, right? So most of the times when there was, so there was a time we all studied, in India also, where there were no kings, there was no feudalism. There was a democratic system of governance. There were village republics. Buddha was actually born in one of the village republics where there was no ruler or king as such. Next, please. Yeah. So this is the ideal. This is what we have to reach. No governments, no authority, no power. Everyone is governing themselves, right? That's the ideal that we have to reach. And that's what, as a social entrepreneur, we are working for. It will not happen in our lifetimes. It may not happen in several lifetimes. That doesn't matter, right? We have to work. Just like in geometry, in Euclid, a line is basically something which doesn't have any breadth. But then nobody has been ever able to make a perfect line. But whole of geometry is based on lines. So the ideal is unreachable, but we can work on it. Right? Next, please. Yeah. So the job of the social entrepreneur is to change the world. And that is by breaking the rhetoric of the empire, creating a different economic system of existence, not working within the system. It cannot. Its aim is to seek power. Simple. Wherever there is centralization, wherever there is scale, wherever there is bigness, it's always going to create a pyramid. You must have read about this pyramid, right? Pyramid is not a social entrepreneur's figure. For a social entrepreneur, the figure is a circle. The circle of life, not a pyramid of hierarchy, right? Yeah. So this is what we understood about how to break this system. This is not out of theory. This is not a case study. This is what we have learned by burning ourselves, our money, our time, our effort, our hearts. This is after we have burnt ourselves that we realize this, and this is what we are trying to live as much as possible according to this. I think this is the last one. Next one. Yeah. So this ends my part of our thinking as to what we learned in this whole business of sustainability. And now Shikha is going to present what we actually did in our enterprise.
been actually, since childhood, we've been studying EVS in our curriculum. Haven't we all? We've heard of climate change, we've heard of even social entrepreneurship, we've heard of, temperatures rising and all that. But then do we really care? How many of us can really say that we really care? We do really care. So, for us also to think all these things, it was something that really changed our lives. We had to bring that care in our action, and that action was basically about, because the main thing is the livelihood. So in bringing the change in our livelihood was, how we actually brought in the change for which we are working. So we founded Neem Soaps, which was this vision for social and environmental sustainability, and which works on the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit, unlike all the enterprises which work mainly for the profit. So we founded it in 2007 as a Khadi enterprise, and it is located in village Hullu. So we chose to locate it in village and not in a city, even though city would have, given us more convenience. But then we actually had a school, and with the teachers we were doing some kind of experiments with environmental projects, and we came up with, making of handmade soaps, which were absolutely, environmental friendly. And we were working with rural women self-help groups, and they wanted to do something for their livelihood, and we also wanted to, do a livelihood which was absolutely environmental friendly, and that is why we started this herbal handmade soap unit in a small hut in a village, with just training just one woman, and now there are about 30 women. And so we work in the village Hulum, which is basically 4 families of Mundas, Mahatos, Surens, and it was very, very difficult for us to, get entry into the village. People resisted a lot because they did not want any outsider to, go into the village. And then we also decided not to, but then slowly, once we became friendly with the children, when they saw that we are not there to, harm the environment in any way, because the villagers are very, very conscious about how they keep their village. So when they saw that our organization is not there to, pollute the environment, but it is actually becoming a part of the whole environment, slowly they have, allowed us, and they have become very, very supportive of us. And we also decided not to pay any bribe at any point in our registration and getting our licenses and getting any kind of approvals from the Pollution Control Board. These offices are known for not doing any work till the bribe comes. But still, we, really worked very, very hard, and then we did dharnas, we sat there in the office for 3 days in Ranchi, but we said we are not going to pay a single penny, nor are we going to even, give one soap as a gift till we really get our license. And persisting with that, we could really get our all the licenses without paying any kind of bribe. So this was a very, very big decision. At every point, we had to decide what kind of product, what kind of process, what kind of people to, employ, what kind of relationship between the employers and the employee, what kind of model of marketing. So everywhere it was our thinking, it was our philosophy that had to be really executed. Always there was a choice that, so for example, when we started in 2007, nobody actually had handmade soaps which were without color.
People were used to, having aesthetic soaps with a lot of color and a lot of, artificial smells. Nobody actually would think that the bathing bars would be without color. They would rather think it's a local kind of, bar for washing detergent bar or something. But then we stuck to our decision, and today there are so many companies making the handmade soaps. Now it's the organic, and the handmade have really grown. But at the time when we started, nobody understood it, and very few people could appreciate it. So we had to take, economic back step over there that, it would not. So we took the decision in favor of creating a very, very chemical-free product, which was good for the environment and which was good for the skin rather than, more for economics. And similarly, we compromise on the shelf life of the product. We did not put any chemicals, preservatives, artificial, fixatives to increase the shelf life, which meant that we can't give a lot of shelf life to the product, and we can't go through distributors. We can't sell in bulk. We can't sell it to huge chains. But then again, our aim was not to expand, and our aim was not to really grow big in the economic sense. We wanted to actually create a product which was absolutely environmental friendly. In our unit, the women and the children can easily, be there. The children can play around because there are no chemicals used. So, and there's no air pollution, there's no water pollution. The runoff from the utensils which are used for production is used for watering the plants. So it's absolutely neutral. So it's absolutely good for the soil. And there are hardly any waste that we are producing except for a little bit of plastic. But otherwise, everything is reused. All the furniture is upcycled and recycled. So this has been one of our toughest decisions, not to use any kind of chemicals and reduce, like compromise on the shelf life, compromise on the, that not everybody would be able to buy the product because it increases the cost of the product. Yeah, so all the work in our unit is done by rural women who are literate. Most of them are not illiterate, and everything is done by hand. Apart from the weighing machine and hand mixers, we do not use any kind of machinery. There's no fuel usage at all. And we are yet to find a substitute for the plastic bottles, but otherwise all the other packaging material is recycled. So this is how we began in 2007 in a small hut. We began small. This is the hut where we began. So as I said that I trained just one single woman, and we took a loan of only 60,000 rupees from State Bank and registered it under Khadi to get help from Khadi in marketing the product. But it was not really so. So we have been marketing it through mainly, yeah. So we trained about 200 women with the help of NABARD, which we found was the most, ethical organization for, working with. Otherwise, usually all the government organizations do not really work till again they get some kind of benefit. So, the CGM of NABARD, he really helped us, and we trained about 200 women to make different kind of products. And this is how the training happened. The first one with 30 women. Yeah. Yeah, and for a small enterprise which really, can't afford a lot of people, a lot of professional help, and otherwise also with our philosophy. So we did everything by ourselves, right from formulation of the products to designing the packaging to marketing to doing all the works as and when the need arises. We have done everything. Even our website was designed by us only. Yeah. So we did not again go. We wanted to be independent, so we chose marketing through the exhibitions, which are fairly, so owning a shop means you have a lot of liability and all, a lot of capital investment. So we chose to market in enter different cities through handicraft bazaars and exhibitions. And over here, this was the first exhibition, the India International Trade Fair in Delhi. So that was the first one, and till now we have participated in more than around 150 exhibitions. And this was, so we've also participated in 3 international exhibitions in China, South Africa, and in Italy. And yeah. Yeah, and then we got a national award from the President of India and for our efforts. And right after coming back from getting the award, I got a call from the drug inspector saying that what you're doing is not legal. You have to have a license because it's a cosmetic product. So we said no, we are actually only trying to employ rural women and make things very, very organically with using very local material. But then he said, no, you have to close it down or you have to get a license. And license meant all the procedures for the license are actually set for the commercial units. Their specifications for the lab certifications and specifications for the areas, everything is for the commercial units, which is requiring huge machines and all that. But there are no proper certifications for a small handmade cosmetic unit, and yet the our handmade soaps had to have a license. So I really fought at various levels, going to Delhi, talking to the drug controller of India, that this kind of, so this is a new thing. The handmade soaps was a new, and Ayurvedic drugs was a new thing which was actually coming to the mainstream. And so a lot of, talking had to be done, a lot of telling the drug controller and the lot of officers had to be convinced that the small scale the unit cannot afford so many of certifications, that we are preparing one batch of soaps with just 50 soaps, and every batch cannot be tested because each test requires about 1,000 or 1,200 rupees. So every day we are producing around 20 batches, so 20 batches cannot be really tested. It increases the cost. So, but finally, after a lot of talking, we got our license, and we took a loan and we constructed a soap unit as per the minimal, factory area requirements and all. And then, we started manufacturing here. Everything is, as you can see, that by hand. It's as per the convenience of the women, how they want to sit and how they want to do the packaging and production. Yeah. So for the women, there are about 30 women from the age 17 to 70. For all of them, it is like a second family. There are girls who are, aged, the ladies who are aged 40 and yet not married. There are widows, there are handicapped. So all of them also, for them, this is a, security for life. And so how we have marketed, again, keeping in line with our principles, we try to remain free of the government intervention as much as possible. And we are supplying to mainly organic shops. So around 200 organic shops in the country and about 13 shops outside the country, in Japan, Switzerland, and Maldives, procure our export license as well. And We've again now started our own online portal also. We are with Amazon, and we have our website and Facebook marketing as well. Yeah, we've tried to work with a lot of exhibition organizing agencies, government as well as non-government. And yeah, this is our website. You can check on it. And we are also supplying to many eco resorts in Madhya Pradesh, in Coorg, Tamara, and in Jaipur, Chhatrasagar. And yeah, so we use only cold process technique to produce our products. So we have now, right now, about 137 categories of products and about 220 SKUs. And all these products are combining Ayurveda, aromatherapy, and local knowledge. So we are in the tribal area, so all the tribals use mahua oil, for example, and to keep their skin healthy. And they use chicha mitti to wash their hair. So we use these ingredients in our skin products and hair products. Then we try to combine all the ancient Ayurvedic recipes which are given in Charak Samhita and all, and we like added with aromatherapy, so it's more appealing. And I can really tell you that we've grown only on the basis of the quality of and the efficacy of the products. They are really everybody who uses them really loves them and finds a lot of difference. So that is why we've grown. And yeah, we grow our own herbs. We grow our own mehndi, rose, and we grow our own ashwagandha and a lot of herbs again in our area. So that and we are trying to take more and more land under cultivation of the herbs. And yeah, so we have got now all the product certifications. We've got a cosmetic license, the Ayurvedic and lab certification as per BIS, and we also acquired our export license. So this is how our packaging has evolved. We've done a lot of experiments trying to make packaging which is eco-friendly, or because it has to be shipped to various cities, so it has to stand the impact during transition. So yeah, and finally this is how it is. So all the packaging, everything is developed by us only with the help of some interns. Yeah, these are our gift boxes. And yeah, this is the Jharkhand tribal art, the Sohrai paintings which have been used on the gift boxes. Yeah, these are the photographs taken by a friend. So we never ever took any professional help. There was no capital investment in any of our packaging design or photography or for producing our website. Everything has been done by us and with the help of interns. The media also promoted us. Yeah. So these are the different kind of products that we have right now, 137 kind of products, which, yeah, we started only with 5 soaps and in 2007, and now we have 137 includes everything from soaps, shampoos, body washes, cleansers, lotions, creams, kajals, and everything made in a traditional way. And yeah, so we work with a lot of interns. There is only me and Anurag who are the skilled people in our unit, and all the other skilled work has been done with the help of interns. So interns from not only India but from various. So we have partnership with ISEC. So a lot of interns from different parts of the world. Till now, I think around 20 interns have worked with us. They stay with us for 6 weeks, and they help us with all the documentation work, with taking the photographs, designing the packaging. So all the work has been done by the interns. And yeah, so these are the awards that we've got. We've never ever applied for any award. Whatever has come our way, it has but we have never ever applied for any of them. Yeah, so this is the story of neem soaps, and the way forward would be shared by Arula.
So we stumbled to a way forward. So it's the end. I'm not going to take much more time. It's almost so as you can see how we set up our social enterprise in working with our philosophy, but then we finally, after going over the curve, over the learning curve of the social enterprise, now it works smoothly for us. We said that no, this is not the end. This is also not just the beginning. We are still on the journey of sustainability. So we said that now we will put the business to the background, and we will concern ourselves further with the question of sustainability, and this is what we are doing now. So we want to be free from the market, be completely self-reliant, grow our own food, do our own stuff, make our own clothes, and that too ourselves. So this is what we are doing now. Yeah, so I started with woodworking, and so this was a transition from working on the laptop and the office, right, and come completely to the hands, from a complete brain worker and laptop wielder to wielding carpentry tools, right? So next please. So I've been making a number of products for our utility. Whatever is required now is done by me, by my hands. You need a table, you need a chair, you need a shelf, you need a cupboard, you need anything, we are making it. So these are how I started. These are some of the products that I have made over the last year. And then now finally Shikha too has joined carpentry. She overcame her dread for the power tools. You know, they're quite dangerous. So now she's also, so our typical time is like, Shikha finishes off with her work at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 8 in the evening. Together, we are doing our own carpentry, making stuff for ourselves, our own. Yeah. And we also have introduced some very good packaging based on wood, roll-ons and cardboard boxes, gift boxes, etc. Yeah. So the first was carpentry, which related to shelter. Basically, if you know woodworking, we are civil engineers. Very unfortunately, we cannot make our own house because the villagers are not civil engineers, but they can make their own house, and from many kinds of materials. So at least now with woodworking, I feel I can, I envision that I can make house for myself with wood at least, right? And we have also, the second part of our sustainability was food, which is, sorry, that's the first part. So we tried, we unfortunately, I don't know how many of you have got lands. I really envy anybody who has got land. And yeah, farming land, not the land of the city, the farming land, I don't have, and it's a woe for me that, I keep telling my parents, what did you all do? You didn't have any land in your village, nothing. So we purchased some land for 18 lakh rupees through our trust, and we have set up a center called CIL. Previously, we were running a school in that, and keeping in line with our philosophy, we closed down that school, much to the anger of some of the villagers and bewilderment of my friends as to why should I be closing down a school which was meant to do good. But this, as I said in my previous presentation, that the school is just an arm of industrialization. So we are wanting to create, we are now wanting to create a different kind of school, which is not going to give any certifications, which is not going to teach maths, physics, and chemistry, but it's going to teach agriculture, handicrafts, and self-inquiry. So we believe that these three done by every individual in the world becomes sustainable. Very simple. The solution is there. So yeah, so this is our CIL, Center for Integral Living. By integral, we mean a kind of living which isn't fragment into the countries, nations, races, classes, man versus nature, man versus machine. So integral means a harmonious living. And so, can we come to the previous slide, please? Yeah, so this is we doing, so we didn't get land, so that's not going to stop us, right? We have decided that this center, whatever space is available, we are going to put pots and pans and whatever space is there, we are going to grow our food there. So we have these, the blue tubs you can see, they are basically some cans which come from the Neve soap unit. We cut them, put some soil, and now you can see in that corner photo there, we started growing greens in that, and that's me doing some real physical work. And together, Shikha and I, we made this contraction, that form work, that's actually, we are going to do it today. We're going to make large concrete pots, 4 feet long. In that formwork was made by us. Today we are going to cast the pots to be put on the terrace. So we are going to do terrace gardening, and hopefully we'll be growing our food, the vegetables for the time being, in the center. Next, please. Yeah, and finally we also are envisioning, you see, as I said, it's the end of the presentation. I would like to end by saying that the biggest thing is self-inquiry. You must know yourself. That is from where everything begins. And we don't know ourselves. We are just programs, programmed by society, programmed by religion, programmed by the government. So in order to be a truly creative social entrepreneur, you have to free yourself from all these programs. So the last and the most important project for us is to have the Center for Self-Inquiry, where people can come and we are going to create a library, a video room, and probably, kind of a schedule for the whole year where we can have different workshops or different retreats for people to come there, not just talk, do some woodworking, do some gardening, grow some food, make some herbal cosmetics, as well as have discussions and dialogues about what it means to be a truly creative social entrepreneur and a sustainable living practitioner. Thank you.
You'll be taking the questions from the audience.
Yes. Yeah, please.
So, you talked about not taking support from the government, right? But if you look into the current union budget, the government is pouring a lot of money into rural development. So, would it be the right time to look towards the government to increase the scope of the impact?
It's not only that now. Government has been pouring a lot of money since time immemorial, right? That's what is meant by what is called a welfare state, right? What we have to understand, as I told in the first part, you have to decode this now. The government is in the first place the main cause for unsustainability, right? How? You know the history of this state, Jharkhand. It was owned by the tribals. Till the state was owned by the tribals, You know the name of this state? Jharkhand means land of forests. So till the tribals owned it, it was rich with forests. And the time when the government came, because the government's aim is what? Forests. No. Its aim is minerals. Right? Its aim is taking the resources, creating large organizations, creating corporations. They don't get anything from the tribals, right? So the government is basically not interested in sustainability. No government can ever be interested in sustainability because the government is interested in keeping power, right? It's very simple. They want power. All that talk will happen. They will talk all this. It's supposed to now. I'm at least happy Trump is saying, I don't care for this. Right? He's telling the truth. And nobody cares. So, the government, in practical terms, I'm telling you, you will have all these projects. We did 1 or 2 projects with the government. They will say, we will release this much money once you do this. We do that. We prepare all the paperwork, goes to the government. There somebody sits with the papers. Because what is his motivation? Right? Why is he sitting there? He is not sitting there for sustainability. He is doing a job. So it's gone. Right? Who takes the government projects in reality? You know who takes it? The politicians, their relatives. The politicians have opened NGOs. There's an NGO here also in this city by a politician. They want to channel funds from the government. So they open NGOs through their relatives and the money goes to them. Right?
And if you think that government is going to create employment, by procuring more land and, converting it to factories, you know that how much Tisco is expanding. And for all that expansion and cutting of the trees and, bringing down the housing societies and all also, they are going to employ probably just 15 new people.
No, in fact, you must have heard this, that Tisco talks about laying off. It's not being laying off employees rather than employing it, right? So that is the general DNA, as I said, of any process which is centralizing. They don't want more humans. More humans means more problems, more difficulty. Have less humans in the workforce. Do it by machines.
Machines are much better.
Machines will not strike. Right? They will not ask for a pay raise. They are not going to ask for better living conditions. It's very difficult. So you must understand this whole process of centralization is the problem. Don't get people together like this in large numbers. What is social entrepreneurship? It's about breaking centralization. Become small, independent units. Don't make large corporations, because when you centralize, there's going to be uniformity, you are going to enforce. I was just coming today on the bike and I saw this van, Sanitation Enforcement Agency. That was very interesting. So now we have started enforcing sanitation, right? So where does this problem happen? When we are accumulating in large numbers. When we are in small discrete units, the problems are never magnified, right? You'll see all environmental problems are because of that. Because we are centralizing. What is centralization? Your raw material is not coming from that place. It's coming from around the world. It is so inefficient. Raw materials coming from some place, labor coming from some place. In fact, if you go into the history, these histories are never taught to you, but if you go into the history, before there were no industries, there was trading. What is a trading? Trading means everybody had got a loom in their house. So what would a trader do? He would go to each house collect the material, and then go to trade. But then the traders started getting more ambitious. He said, why should I go in each house and collect? What I will do is I will create one place where all the machines will be and all the people will come to me and they will make it here in my premise. Right?
So I also have a doubt. You mentioned about the rote learning system wherein education and knowledge does not reciprocate and we all are running behind education for our materialistic pleasures and all. So what do you think is the solution to this rote learning?
Yeah, I'm very glad that this question is asked. I actually gave you the answer. The solution is very difficult. Nobody wants to take it, but the solution is there. And this solution, I reached it on my own, but I was very surprised and happy to see that it was the same solution advanced by Mahatma Gandhi. The solution is that you have your education on the lines of agriculture, handicrafts, and self-inquiry. Now we are doing education not for knowing ourselves. We are doing education to forget ourselves, right? So, if you see the Vedic, if you are aware of how it happened in the olden days in the Gurukuls, it was the same thing. The children were there, no fees were taken. See, the moment you are taking fees, education is not going to happen. The moment you are taking attendance, education is not going to happen. Education means children come of their own free will. And they have the right to go out on their own free will. You are not, capturing them. It has to be in freedom. So it was the way it happened in the old Upanishadic times, right? You were interested in education, so you went and sought a teacher. And what did the teacher have? He had a sustainable lifestyle. He had some farms. He had some cattle. And the children would come, live with him, tend to his farms, tend to his cattle, learn the different arts. There were 64 arts of hand and music, art, whatever, according to their wish. It was not dictated to them. Whatever was their wish, they could learn any of these 64 arts. And then no fees. The Guru is not asking for any fees. So he's not a paid employee of an institution, right? So he's teaching from his heart. He's really, really loving. And he has got no state curriculum forced down to him, right? So he's teaching from his spirit, from his being. That's what we are wanting to do now. We have closed down for a period of 2-3 years. We were slowly integrating this farming and woodworking and maybe metal craft in some time, and then we will leave. So we know that we can't have the school at present. So what we are doing is we leave it as open as a space where children can come after their school hours and they just tinker around, work around with these things and generally develop that kind of love for that, and then perhaps maybe they'll decide on their own that they would like to go. Recently, I came across this website called King's Carpentry. 15 years old in Bangalore, who decided not to continue with his education. So his parents were very supportive, very, very rare. His parents put him in some Orinoco Academy there in Bangalore. And that academy is doing only these kind of things. Literacy. So that guy now is an entrepreneur. He's earning money making wooden articles. He makes
India when resources are abundant is okay, but we are very stable. Once say you are one of a type of organization, so if you think everyone does something like this,
there will be more resources released if you are going to leave these companies. You know, there is this book by David Cotton called The Great Turning. He wrote this famous book called How Corporations Rule the World. So that was actually one of my turning points in life. So all these, your lifestyle today is so resource consuming. Just look into it. Mobiles, televisions, clothes, all this.
You know, right now there are just 6% of Indian families owning cars, and there are only 17% of Chinese families owning cars. So in case we actually, everybody, if we are talking about equitable and sharing of resources, if everybody in China and if every family in India were to have cars, we would all be finished. Within the Earth's resources would be finished. But then why do you need a car? What if that was again a turning point for me, that to realize that I need only clothes, shelter, and food, which I can just go and do farming. But why am I not doing? Because there's a need in the psychological realm. There's a need to grow, there's a need to grab more, there's a greed actually. So that is what is creating the Earth societies have been actually living, people have been living in this planet since 50,000 years or more. But then they are sustaining. The Indian agriculture is 5,000 years old, but it is sustaining. But then the Indian villages are more than 5,000 years old, but they are sustaining. But now we are eating up the resources at a very high rate, and we are actually facing environmental peril. So there is enough for everybody's need, but there's not enough for everybody's need.
Yes.
One or two more questions before we wrap up this session.
So when you say about the Vedic age and about the aborigines of Australia, you say you want to reach the way those people lived. We were there at one point in time. What went wrong that we are here at this crossroads?
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. What went wrong was that greedy people came in.
And
Yeah.
a follow-up question: if we reach that point, what is stopping us from us falling down?
Yes, another very good question. So, yes, there were these societies, they were existing for so many years, till the white man came in. And the white man came in with this gold rush and industrialization and all that, and started colonizing all these people. Yeah.
So you mean to say the white man did not develop from the tribal?
No.
It was from him only, right?
Right.
So the people who were so good, something bad came from them only. So if, for example, tomorrow in your world...
No. I am not, I didn't get your point. The tribals were living separate. The white man was living separate, right? So the tribals were sustainable societies.
And the white man wasn't from the start?
No, they were not. That's why it's the story of Columbus, right? That's what is the story of Columbus. He goes to the tribals, different tribals. The same thing is in India also. Not only white men, even in India, there were tribals. If you go through the history of our country, the tribals never participated in the freedom movement. They never considered themselves part of India. Because who are the tribals? Do you know who are tribals? They are people who resisted the rule of the kings. So the king said, okay, if you're going to do that, they were driven from the plains to the highlands. So that is why you find most of the tribals not on the plains. They are occupying the highlands. Now so the tribals, why did they resist the kings? Because the tribals were earth communities. They always resisted centralization of authority. And this is the story across the world. All tribal societies have been decentralized, right? I'm not saying that the tribals don't have problems. They do have. The solution for this is to learn what is to learn from them, but that's not the end. The solution is only one. It's very easy and simple to say. That is, You give up your need for seeking power. Each individual evolves in his or her consciousness to the level where he or she seeks no power. End of all psychological becoming. So basically, this is an evolution of consciousness in man that is required.
So it is not about empowering the unempowered. It is about disempowering yourself.
Yeah, we thank you, Anurag sir and Shikha ma'am, for your wonderful and insightful talk. And now I request Professor Ashish Kepani to present the memento to Anurag sir and Shikha ma'am as a token of gratitude.
I was listening to you. You said that the gurus and the attendance is open. I think all of excellence here, even if we take attendance 30% students in the class, if you take your words and pass the excellence is going to.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have come to the end of this first session of Asia Meet. Now I would request everybody, the students who have come here, to get themselves registered first. Outside there's a registration desk, and get your ID from there. We'll be able to give you the certificates only if you have that registration card by the end of the day. So now we have, before moving on to the lunch, we have a 1-hour tour of XLRI planned for all of you. And we'll be clubbing you in a batch of 10. So since this is a campus, we request you to maintain the decorum. And now we all can proceed for that.